Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome to another beautiful episode number 44. Let the fourth be with you guys on this beautiful spring evening of May 4th, Thursday evening, May 4th, 2017, episode 44 of the Nico Chronicles. As I said, may the fourth be with you, as always. I am your host, the one, the only, Nico Saraceno. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. Back for another week. I have to admit, it's been a bit of a grind. I mean, I haven't been as consistent as I was when I first started the show from week to week, and for that, I apologize. But thank you guys for tuning in. We have a lot to get to tonight, including plenty of NBA, as I've been doing for the past 3 or 4 weeks or so since playoff coverage started. But first, I'd like to wish a happy 3 weeks. For those of you who tuned in last week, you may remember that last week was 2 weeks. So happy 3 weeks to my beautiful niece, Enza, who is exactly 3 weeks old today. So shout out to her. If she's listening somewhere, I love you. But what I want to touch upon first, for those of you who saw my social media, and speaking of social media, if you guys want to tune in, you can visit facebook.com/The Nico Chronicles. That's where the Facebook live stream is happening. You can call, of course, 701-801-2251. Press 5 if you want to chat with me. And you can also check out the Wix stream, which is thenicochronicles.wix.com/The Nico Chronicles. So, anyways, I was saying on social media, a big topic that I wanted to get to tonight, and for those of you who follow my personal account too, is a big topic is my new obsession. Actually, my new Netflix obsession. I don't necessarily know if it's a good or a bad thing, but it's this new show that started the end of March. It came out, so it hasn't even been out like an entire 2 months, but it's kind of been spreading on wildfire on Facebook. Everyone's kind of been raving about it, and my sister also recommended it to me. So it started out, well, the first obsession started, if you guys remember, a few months ago, with Stranger Things. I knocked that episode out or that season out in like 5 minutes. It's pretty much what it felt like. So now the new thing is this new show called 13 Reasons Why, which it's got an interesting premise and an interesting plot to it. So let me give you the rundown real quick. So basically, it's this girl. She's got to be, I think she's like a high school sophomore, junior. So you figure 16 or 17 years old. Her name's Hannah, and she commits suicide. Now the whole plot revolves around why she exactly did it. So apparently it's a well thought out process. She leaves behind 13 tapes. Hence the, I think it's 13 tapes, right? Hence the title, 13 Reasons Why. And essentially, it's funny that it's old school because this takes place in modern day. So she leaves behind these old school tapes, which I thought was a nice touch by the producers. And she pretty much, I don't know if it's 13 people too, but she picks out a list full of people who have influenced her life in some way. And according to her, they've kind of directly or indirectly contributed to her committing suicide, it's pretty sad if you think about it. Putting the blame on these people, and they didn't even know it, or some of them didn't even think that they were involved. It's a lot of pressure to put on a high schooler, in my opinion. But anyway, so it's the show consists of a lot of flashbacks from when she was alive and when she was interacting with all these people on the tapes. So every episode pretty much goes by a side of the tape, which is cool. And the camera crew follows a secondary character, I could say, or another main character. His name's Clay. Clay Jensen, I think is his name. He's like one of the friends, or we don't really know how close friends he was. I mean, they seem to be besties, honestly. So anyway, he's this super shy, like sort of like socially awkward kind of guy, and he's the one with the tapes now. And apparently, from what the audience has heard, if you don't follow these directions and listen to the tapes, news is going to come out that you could have contributed to her death. So it's pretty much a threat. You're pretty much getting blackmailed if you don't listen to these tapes. So this kid obviously is freaking out. He's going crazy. Everyone around him seems to be watching him because they've listened to the tapes too, it seems like. So he's got like a big case of freaking out, paranoia, anxiety, issues concentrating. And this is pretty much what's been determined from 2 episodes. I'm only 2 episodes in. I don't know how many are in the season, but I'm intrigued to see what's coming up next, to see how crazy this Clay guy goes, or gets. Because a lot of people have been involved in this. You know, there's like, it's like a puzzle. You're trying to piece it all together, and right now it's like still a blob. You know, so you can't really tell what's going on. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I don't want to spoil it or anything, but where I'm at right now, I think he's realizing one of his friends, or somebody he's close with that he's known since like elementary school, is kind of like on the inside, kind of trying to console the girl's parents, but not really. So everything's up in the air. There's like so many gray areas. So what I really like about the show, it leaves you wanting more. It's like good shows kind of get you hooked. Obviously, this has got me hooked by my Facebook status because of the fact that I'm talking about it on my podcast. It's definitely a big deal, and it's taking up a lot of, well, not a lot of my time, but it's I blame it. The fact that I've been going to sleep a little late is due to this show. Yeah, shout out to Ryan. Yeah, Ryan, I see your comment there. He wants me to try to finish it. Ryan, if you're how many episodes are there? Do you know? I'm gonna be starting episode 3. So if there's like 10, maybe I could do it. So we gotta wait till the next show starts. I'll see if I can watch all those episodes. Because they're like an hour long. Oh, 13, obviously. I should have known that. Okay. 13 episodes. Alright, so I got 11 left. It's doable. We'll see what happens. We'll see how much time I get this weekend. Tonight I'll try to watch one too. So again, I'm going to be going to sleep at 11:30 again, when I probably shouldn't be doing that. But anyway. It's a really good show. And what kind of sucks about Netflix is that they don't post the next episodes, or they probably haven't. Obviously, they haven't been filming. They just finished this one, so we're probably not going to get the next season for a long time. That's the only bad thing about binge watching these things when they just come out, is that you have to wait, probably a whole year, 6 to 8 months, whatever it is. But yeah, I'll probably be binge watching it, Ryan, by next week. So I'll let you know about that. I'll let you know my thoughts, because I'm curious. I'm curious to see what happens. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now with TV. It's switching off between that and NBA playoffs. Shout out to the Rangers, actually, New York Rangers as well. They're still in the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's a game tonight, actually. That's about all I can say about that, to be honest, because I have not been following my hockey. So if you're hockey fans, good for you guys. But I really want to get to the mashed potatoes here. I really want to get to NBA. And I switched it up today. For lack of time, and just because I felt like being different, I don't know if you guys can see it here. I wrote my cute little notes by hand this time. Look how cute that is, my little kid handwriting. Anyway, my family says that my handwriting looks like a 12-year-old. So I'm 24 now, so it hasn't changed since I was in 7th grade. Which is, I don't know if that's a skill or if that's sad, but whatever. So there's been a lot of action going on. We're now officially in the second rounds of the playoffs in both the East and the Western Conference. So just to take you guys back, today is May 4th, as I said, May 4th, 2017. Yesterday, May 3rd, we had... Well, actually, let me go back to May 2nd, because there was a really big game between the Celtics and the Raptors. Did you guys see this? Isaiah Thomas, obviously the Celtics won that game. Isaiah Thomas, 53 points in that game. It ended up going to overtime, actually. Late in the fourth, John Wall missed a game-winning shot to win it in regulation. And then, well, actually, he missed a shot with about 5 seconds left. Bradley Beal, arguably the second best player on the team, misses a shot. And that pretty much forced OT. The Celtics were down, I believe, like 12-plus points in the third quarter. So they essentially stole that game at home. This could be a 1-1 series right now. Instead, the Celtics lead 2-0 on that. And what's even crazier with everything going on, if you guys remember, it's been said all over TV. Isaiah Thomas did lose his sister, I believe, 3 weeks ago. And what's crazy is on Tuesday, which is when this game was, she turned 23 years old, and he happened to have one of the biggest games of his career. So he says he plays all for her, and when he's on the court, it's like his sanctuary. It gives him that tunnel vision, draws him out from everything else, and then when the game's over, reality hits. And you saw him getting emotional with David Aldridge during the interview the other day. Like, if you don't have sympathy for this guy, I just don't even know what to think. Because the fact that he's playing through all this just is just a testament to his character and, I don't know, his willingness as a person, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. He's just, obviously he's trying to distract himself. Which is, it works for people. Some people need to be distracted by work. Times like that. Not everybody, but some people, yes. So, that was interesting, and there's another game tonight. 2 games later. Every other day is a game, so Boston at Washington. The game started officially at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And I checked before the show started 15 minutes ago, and the Wizards were dominating that game. The game, of course, is in Washington, D.C., so it's going back home for the Wizards, which is, people say home court is not a big deal for some people, but I think in this case it is. Right now on ESPN, late in the second quarter, just over 2 minutes ago, 59-37 Celtics. So they're down, it's wow. So 22-point game in Washington right now. But again, the way the Celtics have been playing and the way that defense tends to step up late in the third into the fourth, of course it's still early and you don't want to say the game's over during the playoffs. So I'm not going to say that, but it's going to be tough. Brad Stevens' team is going to have a lot of work to do because you look at the stats here. I'm just trying to pull up the stats. I'm curious to see. John Wall is obviously having a good game right now. 10 points. Leading scorer, Otto Porter Jr. with 15. So, I'm curious to see if Washington can at least get one. They get 2 games at home now, a chance to even up the series. We're going to see if they can avoid the shutout, because the Celtics, I think a bulk of the analysts are predicting Celtics, Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, essentially the Cavs will most likely come out of the East, according to most people, but Celtics could possibly be there. And the Wizards, I think those are the top 3 contenders right now. Raptors, I think, have no legitimate shot, with all due respect. So, Ryan posted another question, which is it's a doozy, my friend. Down 2 with 3 seconds left, but you want to go for the win. Okay. Is it better for Kyrie or Isaiah Thomas to take the final shot? Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, man, because from what I've seen and from what I've heard about Kyrie, obviously he's a hell of a player, and I'm probably going to be a little biased from him because he's from my hometown, so I got a lot of love and respect for the guy. But there's a lot of hypotheticals, and there's a lot of I think there's a lot of things you got to consider here. Because Kyrie, the kind of player he is he's not going to overflow the stat sheet in more than like two categories. So what I mean by that is if he's going to score, he can easily score like 30 plus points a game. And normally he'll do that if LeBron is not playing well, if he's on the bench, if J.R. Smith, if Iman Shumpert, if they're not playing well, he's gonna carry the load. He's gonna take that upon himself to score. So having said that, if he does do that scoring, he's gonna lack in other categories such as assists. Okay, you look at yesterday. The Cavs won by a blowout over the Raptors to take a 2-0 lead. 125 to 103, so 22-point win. We look at Kyrie, 22 points. Okay, decent, but not a crazy stat sheet. You know, it's average for a player like him. We have such high standards for this guy, so it's average for a player like him. But he blew up the assist stat line. 11 assists, so he had a cute little double-double. So, to answer your question, I guess, I think depending on his scoring, if he's being aggressive that game, and he's got 30 plus points, and he's the one who's taking the responsibility, I think confidence is going to be at an all-time high. So I'm going to want him shooting the ball. But on the other hand, if he's trying to be more, I don't want to say passive, but if he wants to be more unselfish and share the ball more like he did yesterday, he's not going to want to shoot the ball. It's more than likely going to be LeBron, who's just having a hell of a series. Before I continue answering that question, let me just sidetrack real quick. In 6 playoff games, guys, LeBron is averaging 33 points a game. Okay? He's made the postseason 12 straight years. And I believe if he makes the finals this year, it is going to be his 7th or his 6th straight NBA Finals appearance. So, despite all the heat LeBron takes for crumbling in the fourth quarters, despite all that heat, I think he's stepping up. He's really hungry for another championship. He's really hungry to go back-to-back. So, now, let's flip it to Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is, without a doubt, the best player on the Celtics. So, I think he's going to be taking the shot. I think I'd rather have him take the shot. He's 5'9", okay? He is 5'9". There's more height differential between him and Kyrie Irving than there is between him. This is a stat I heard today. Okay, Isaiah Thomas is 5'9". There's more of a height differential between him and Steph Curry from the Warriors than Steph Curry and LeBron James. Okay, that's how little he is. I'm 5'11". If I got shoes on, I'm 5'11", so I'm taller than him. Not that that means anything, but that's to put it in perspective. And despite all that, this guy does not lack confidence. And you got to assume most nights, Jay Crowder can contribute. Avery Bradley maybe, Marcus Smart. They have a lot of good role players, but who else, honestly, on the Celtics, who really goes hand in hand with Isaiah Thomas, like in terms of production? I'm trying to think. Nobody really comes to mind. Okay? So, once again, to answer your question, with all the little sidetracks there, with all the hoops, I'm sorry about that, Ryan. I think I'd rather have Isaiah Thomas most of the time shooting a game-winning 3. Because it's one of those things, I know it sounds kind of cliche and naive, but if you have the confidence, those shots are going to fall a lot more likely. The basket's going to look bigger. The ball is going to seem smaller, I guess, if you want to flip it. So, Isaiah Thomas all the way. I'm hopping on the bandwagon if it's not too late. I guess it's never too late. Just essentially, you just got to ask all the Golden State Warrior fans when they became fans. I'm sure some of them just joined 5 minutes ago. They're playing tonight. You got to assume if they go up 2-0, there's going to be 50,000 more Golden State Warrior fans. So, never too late to join a bandwagon. I'm going to hop on it. I'm rooting for the Celtics. I would love to see Celtics Cavs. As I said, that was my prediction for the Eastern Conference Finals. I would love to see that matchup. Ideally, if the Celtics could somehow make it to the NBA Finals, that would be awesome. Although, as much as I want to see LeBron establish his legacy, I am getting sick and tired of these Michael Jordan, LeBron James comparisons. Although it's fun, it's just you hear it so often now. And now that LeBron is chasing another ring, it's literally all they talk about on all these sports networks. I'm flipping through my social media feeds, video after video of analysts breaking this down. It's fun. It's fun to speculate, but you just gotta let nature run its course, I think. Honestly, but I guess there's so much things happening. There's so much more history being made that it's just fun to talk about it. Like, for example, last game, yesterday, LeBron became the second all-time leading scorer in playoff points. He's now got 5,777 points. He just passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for second all-time, and, oh, what do you know? Who is he second behind? None other than Michael Jordan. Jordan's got 5,987, so he needs 210 more points to pass Jordan to become the all-time leading scorer in the playoffs, in the postseason. So that is incredible. And it's very possible that LeBron becomes the leading scorer. If he continues to average 30 plus per game, you do the math, he can break the record in 7 games. So I'm assuming it'll be done unless he decides to distribute the ball a little more. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, if you were to ask LeBron, he does not care about any of that. It does pad his stat sheets very nicely. But he certainly wants another ring. He wants to make it 2 straight years for the Cavs, who up to last year haven't won a major championship in Cleveland since the 60s. So it was 50 plus years. So we're going to see what happens. I'm just reading the comments. Although the comment was cut off there, but thank you for the reminder, Ryan. Yeah, I completely forgot about Al Horford. He's a great player as well down low. So yeah, that combination of Bradley, Crowder, Horford. Yeah, they're a good supporting cast. Again, they're not on the same. They're like down here. If you guys can see that, Isaiah's like over here. So he's obviously the leader, and it's just they're gonna follow suit. So if they can provide him with enough additional firepower, they'll go as far as. I think it's assumed Isaiah's gonna have a heck of a game. They're really gonna go as far as the rest of the supporting cast can take them. That's really what it's gonna come down to. Because you've got to assume the Cavs will shut Isaiah Thomas down if it gets to that point. I mean, have you guys seen what they've done to the Toronto Raptors star, DeMar DeRozan? This guy's a lethal driver to the basket. Okay? What are they doing now? They put 2 guys in the paint. They put LeBron as like a free safety, like even closer to the hoop. So he's in between the other shooters on the Raptors and the basket. So DeRozan literally can't drive in the paint or can't kick it out without it getting stripped. And he has no way to get out of that. I mean, the stat sheet for DeRozan last game was pretty disappointing to say the least. I mean, look at this. 5 points, 3 rebounds. That's a problem. The Raptors also, they're one of those teams that don't have any weapons. Who do they have? Okay, Kyle Lowry. Lowry, last game, 20 points, 5 assists. That's great if DeRozan's going to put up the same numbers, but if one of them has a poor game, if one of them has a poor offensive game, they're going to struggle. Because again, who's going to step up for them? Valanciunas? I mean, come on. Not for anything, no offense. He's a great player and all, but they have subpar guys. That's the issue. Okay, and shout out to the fam on Facebook Live as well who commented. I just wanted to show them some love. But yeah, I think a lot of people knew, out of the East anyway, that it would ideally come down to the Celtics and Cavs. So if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be shocked and I'm going to be eating my words. So we'll see. Now, on the other hand, the Western Conference is a little bit more interesting. Yesterday, the Spurs evened the series. They took Game 2 of the Western Conference semis, 121-96. Kawhi Leonard played like his usual self. He struggled in Game 1. This game, 34 points, 9 rebounds. LaMarcus Aldridge, who's been taking a lot of heat, they paid him a bunch of money to come to San Antonio from Portland. 15 points, 9 rebounds, almost a double-double. And this is big here. Tony Parker, the 34-year-old Frenchman, 18 points, 4 assists. Now, you see that they won by 25. So you're like, okay, that's all fine and dandy. What's the problem? Well, Tony Parker going to be out for the rest of the playoffs, unfortunately. So I'm sorry to break the news to you guys if you haven't heard that, but late in the fourth quarter, Tony Parker ruptured his left quadriceps tendon, which sounds extremely painful. So, Tony, we all wish you a speedy and healthy recovery. But just to put it into perspective, how important Tony Parker is to this team, despite his age, you might say, okay, he's past his prime. He's slower than a lot of guards, that is true. He's had trouble keeping up with Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry. I mean, with the exception of Irving, who's in the East. The West, he's had trouble with. There's a lot of quick guards out there. Most of them are quick, especially if they're younger. Him and LeBron James are the only players to score 4,000 points and have over 1,000 assists in the postseason. Okay? This guy has played 221 postseason games in his 16-year career. Like, that's crazy. He's been one of the major staples of the Spurs for a long time, since their dynasty started. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure how long he was there for David Robinson. But certainly when Duncan was there. He was there with Duncan, Manu Ginobili, who's still there, of course, my boy, and Bruce Bowen, Mr. Bowtie. So those were the main pieces with the Spurs for a long time. Robert Horry was there as well from he came from the Lakers. A lot of players have come and gone since Tony Parker has been there in the past 16 years. So it's going to be tough to fill that gap. So now the series is going to be going back to Houston in a couple days. Series is tied 1-1. It's good that they won Game 2. At least they're not down 0-2. But the fact that they didn't win 2 games at home, that's gonna be tough now. That's the problem. Houston's a hell of a team. And most likely, what people are assuming, I don't think it's been confirmed. I don't think Coach Popovich has confirmed. But Patty Mills probably, who I love to watch him play too. He's very dynamic. Kind of reminds me of Russell Westbrook on a smaller scale. Obviously, you can't compare them, but energy-wise. Patty Mills probably going to be starting for Parker, and then Manu Ginobili going to be coming off as the direct backup for Mills. So, I don't doubt that Coach Popovich is going to have a solid game plan. It's just Tony Parker's presence is definitely going to be missed. So that's going to be difficult. We'll see how that one's down. And then on the opposing side, of course, it was just one of those nights for the Rockets. I mean, James Harden, he did have a nice double-double. 13 points, 10 assists. For once, he was not the leading scorer, and yeah, they lost because of that, most likely. I mean, Ryan Anderson, 18 points, 8 rebounds. Eric Gordon, 15 points, 3 rebounds. I mean, it's pretty blatantly obvious that when your star player, if they're not scoring 20, 25 plus points a night, it's going to be tough for you to get the W. Your star player is going to have to do some sort of intangibles. Have to be contributing to so many points or being responsible for so many points that you're going to win. That's the only way to win. Your star player certainly has to be involved in almost every possession, I think. So, tough game for them. And good luck to the Spurs. It's just, it hurts too because you've seen them. They're like the perfect example. The Spurs are like the perfect example of consistency these 10 plus years. I remember when I first started watching basketball, and that was pretty much when I first became a Nets fan. So that was like 2002, I want to say it was. The Nets went to the NBA Finals 2 straight years. I think it was 2001, 2002, and the 2002-2003 season. So, mistake me if I'm wrong, I think they faced the Spurs the 01-02 season followed by the Lakers, or it might have been flipped. So, my apologies if I have that wrong, but yeah, ever since that playoff series against the Spurs, that was Parker's first year in the NBA. If it was 01-02. Yeah, it's been the same group. I hate to sound like a broken record, but like just put it in perspective. Do you know how 16 years is a lot of time? I mean, I was in 2nd grade, for crying out loud. Like, I was 8 years old. It's just crazy to think. Not many players in the league can say that, and according to a lot of analysts, I think I heard Stephen A. Smith say this. You know, a lot of you have mixed feelings towards him, but he knows his stuff at the end of the day. He made the argument, which I could possibly agree with. He's definitely one of the top European players in the game. You got to put him and Dirk Nowitzki, who's from Germany, in that discussion. And what's crazy is that Dirk is like 37, I think. He's still putting up buckets. Not as effectively as he used to do, but look at Vince Carter. He's not a European player. I think he turned 40 a few weeks ago. I talked about it on a few recent episodes. This guy is still hitting half-court shots and nailing alley-oops, jamming it down like he's 25. Like, major props to you, my friend. That's one of the reasons why I got his poster hanging on above my bed. It's a vintage one, though. It says Heaven Sent. You get it? Heaven Sent. That was back when he was on the Nets, actually. So, good times there. A lot of good memories. And, breaking news for you guys. My laptop, actually. My beautiful laptop, which I bought in 2011. Here she is, which I use for all my production work. Feels very warm in the bottom. And this decided to shut down. So, I'm lucky that we're streaming here on Facebook Live because everything rolling audio-wise is done. So, I hope you guys are still with me. Like, yeah. And that's only 5 years. Imagine if that was 16 years old like Tony Parker. I don't think this computer would be as effective as Tony Parker is with 16 years in. Just saying. So, again, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for the Raptors. Or for the Spurs, rather. I'm curious. And also tonight. The other game taken away tonight, I haven't given the Warriors much love. They're going to be playing Game 2 against the Jazz tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, Warriors, to no one's surprise, lead that series 1-0. They're at home. They're very difficult to beat at Oracle Arena. And they've been in the news lately. It's kind of funny because they're joking around like, oh, there's nothing to do nightlife-wise in Salt Lake City. We'll see how people respond when they go there, because I don't think the Warriors are taking the Jazz too seriously, quite frankly. You got to feel bad for the Jazz, because they have a good squad. Rudy Gobert, Gordon Hayward, George Hill. I mean, they made it to the playoffs for a reason. So we'll see what happens tonight. I'll be sure to tune back in with you guys, but on this May 4th, on this day where we say May the 4th be with you for you Star Wars fans, it's episode double 4 here. So many 4s up in here. Episode number 44. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of TNC of the Nico Chronicles. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with episode 45. But until then, ladies and gents, enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening and have yourselves a marvelous, fabulous weekend. Take care.